Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever I see you, wherever I find you. Welcome to Books and Beer solo with just me this time. One of the solo shows I promised up to the launch of Istanbul, my next book, and it's nice just to have a bit of time to catch up with you, to talk to you, to tell you all about the book if you've not read it already, to encourage you to go and buy it, pre-order it, get it done, get it ready, so that I can have that nice little boost. I can see a load of copies go on that launch day, which I'm looking forward to. I do have a beer. Here we go. Stockport brewed triple hopped IPA. There we are. What are you drinking? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to crack on with this. I've no idea how long the conversation will be today. Not really a conversation, is it? Because it's me. I assume you can hear me, by the way, and this is working as it should. I hope so. Nice. I've no idea how long I talk for. It sort of depends how many people jump in the chat and say hello and heckle me from the sidelines. It'll be a few minutes at least. It's always nice to just have a catch up and tell you what's been going on. Here we go. Look at that. Cheers. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So, big news. Istanbul, the sixth book in Leo and Alyssa's series, will be with you, ready to go on Friday. So what's that? 9 days time. I'm really pleased with this. I think it's a great book. I am really pleased with the way it's gone. I'm really pleased with the way it turns out. I'm really pleased with some of the reviews, which I'll share in a minute, and I'm really excited to share it with everyone, with all of you. Now, I pressed publish on the paperback book today because I always try and do that a little bit earlier, because it takes a little bit longer time to go through the process. So I reckon that will be ready to order at the start of next week, which means if you order it as soon as it comes out, you'll have it by the launch day. That's what I try to have in mind, so that people who want to buy it on paperback get it at the same time as those people on the ebook. So if you're waiting for that, have a look at the start of next week, or maybe even over the weekend, and see if you can get a copy. I'm looking forward to it. I'm secretly sort of hoping that I can get a copy ready to go for next week. So this time when I do this chat next Wednesday, I've got it ready to go at that time. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see. We'll see if that turns out. I'm not sure if it will, but we'll work it out. So yeah, I'm going to read you the blurb of Istanbul. I've got it over here on my other screen. If you haven't read it and you're not excited about it already like I am, and I'm also going to post the link. I could have done this, couldn't I? I could have been prepared enough to do this. I'm also going to post the pre-order link in the chat. So if you haven't done it already, I would put it on the screen, but you can't click that, so it's not much good. If you haven't done it already, you can go ahead and pre-order that for me right now. I really appreciate it, and it helps a lot. Just seeing that there are people there waiting to download it is such a reassuring thing. So thank you if you've done that already. Just a couple of hellos for people that are joining me already. Ray is number one in the chat. Hello, mate. How are you doing? I will be sharing your review shortly, Ray, so thank you for that. And Alison is in as well. Hello, thank you. It's great to see you both in here. And then I've put the link in there, so if you're watching this afterwards, you'll see that pre-order link where you can go and do that straight away. And as soon as the book comes out, obviously, you can just buy it from that. So if you're watching this after the event, you can just buy the book from that link. Okay. So this is what Istanbul, the sixth in the Leo and Alyssa book, the Leo and Alyssa series, is all about. Governments in chaos, violence in the streets, a new world order is coming. When Brent Fasslane, an exiled American conspiracy theorist, disappears in Istanbul, no one's surprised. After all, if you're a thorn in the side of the establishment, it's a matter of when, not if. But when the attention of the world's media sends Fasslane's book up the charts, the powerful start to worry. A damning account of corruption within the world's governments, the book fuels the demand for change, with fear, violence and bloodshed not far behind. Leo and Alyssa head to Istanbul in an attempt to prevent all-out anarchy. But when sinister forces intervene, it's clear the ancient city won't make it easy for them. After all, this wouldn't be the first time civilizations have fallen in the labyrinthine streets of old Byzantium. Can Leo and Alyssa find the world's most famous missing person before order crumbles for good? Oh. I think it sounds good, but I wrote the damn thing, so I suppose I should do it. I'm going to share some reviews, what some of you who've read it already, some of my pre-readers think of it. I'm going to share those in a moment too. So yeah, I can't believe we've got up to book number 6 though. How quickly has that gone? I know, Alison, you've read. When did you read Istanbul, Alison? I'm interested. Not Istanbul, Kathmandu. It must have been pretty soon after it was published, because I think we've been in communication for, 2.5 or so years. Istanbul, Kathmandu was out in May 2019, so it's approaching the 3-year mark. So that's on average two books a year nearly. It's gone amazingly quickly, hasn't it? It's absolutely flown that time, and now I've got all those collection of books up there behind me, soon to be joined by Istanbul when that arrives. As I say, I'll order it as soon as I can. I've not gone for the author copy, because you can get the ones with the stripes on, the pre-copy, but I haven't done that this time because I just buy them and they sit around. So I haven't got one of those. I'm going to wait and get it myself as soon as it tells me it's available in a couple of days' time. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Alison says she thinks it's bloody fantastic, which I'm really pleased about. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I enjoyed writing it, and I'm really pleased to be able to share it, to be fair. So then, next week, I'm going to be back doing another Books and Beer like this, just me, talking about the book that's coming up, talking about Istanbul, sharing some more reviews. I'm going to do those in a moment. And then I'm going to have a little bit of a break. I'm off on a trip to Albania, in fact, for 10 days. And then Martha and I are going to Wales for a few days after that. So I'm away for the best part of probably 2.5, 3 weeks. And then start of May, at some point in May, I think I'll be back with Books and Beer again. I haven't decided exactly when. I will start booking them in, but I haven't quite decided exactly what time it will be, but it will be some point in May, so you'll have a few weeks without me. Please continue, though, to share the videos that are up already, because they are so helpful when I see you guys posting them on Facebook and wherever else and tagging me in them. It is so helpful to get the word out that I do this. And it does take a lot of work to come every week and have these sorts of conversations, so I really appreciate that, and it keeps me going. Do you know what I mean? It keeps me turning up and booking them and making the point of continuing. So if you appreciate it, I appreciate that. Alison says, it wasn't that long after Kathmandu came out. I still can't believe it's nearly 3 years. Yeah, nor me. Mad quick. I have also put the next book up on pre-order. You may have noticed. I don't know if you've been notified yet. So the one that follows Istanbul will be London. I've put it up for a year, so I've got a year to write it. I've planned it. I know what's going to happen, but I haven't written it yet. It will take some time to write. It will be it won't be out till at least the end of the year, maybe even 2023. But I've put it up there so that there's something in the back of Istanbul. So when you read this, if you're a new reader or you haven't, you don't know me yet, you can click through and you can pre-order the next one. So that's ready to go. But I am working on, or thinking about working on, planning a new series as well, which I will tell you more about after I have my break. So after I've had my holiday, I'll tell you a little bit more about that, because that's when I'll actually be starting writing it, or writing them both. I'm going to try and write them sort of a bit each, so they sort of move along together. That's my intention. What's Ray saying? Oh, the poor crunched Alfa Romeo in Istanbul. Track raced GTV for 17 years. Yes. Oh, just good old European, Italian sports car, that one. I always try to make the choice of cars a little bit relevant, Ray, in my books. I don't know if you've noticed, so that I really think about what a character might have. I really try and think about it. So I think it's the guy Sadiq. I think he would have an old Alfa Romeo because he's a bit of a traditionalist, very sort of sensible guy, classic sort of guy. You know what I mean? He likes the older, the more refined things. So I feel like that's the sort of car he'd have rather than like a Japanese car or an American car. He'd have a European sort of tailor-made car. I feel like that would be his choice. I sort of really try and think about those. I don't know if it comes across, or at least I hope it does. Alison asks, what do you love most about writing? Good question. Lots of things. I love lots of things. And I do love the writing process. I know a lot of writers say they love having written. And I'm not like that. I like the writing. I enjoy thinking about the story, inventing the idea of the story, and sitting down and writing it. Because whilst I plan a fair amount of things before I actually sit down to write, I don't know everything. I don't know all of what's going to happen. I know probably half of it, and the rest just sort of comes to me as I'm writing. So it is a bit of a journey of discovery as well. So I enjoy it for that reason too. So yeah, I think it is just the sort of creativity of it, not knowing quite what's going to happen, not knowing quite what's going to turn up. Because in Istanbul, I can't really just discuss this with you because it gives away too much. I suppose I can, because Alison, you've read it, and if you're watching this afterwards, you'll know what I mean. But there's a scene on the bridge, on the Bosphorus Bridge. I won't say what happens there. Don't give it away, please, in the comments. But there's a scene on the Bosphorus Bridge, which in the book happens about 80% of the way through. So it's quite near the end, but it's not at the end. In my mind, when I wrote it, that was the climax. That's where the book finished. That was the big explosion at the end that made everything go. And then when I wrote that scene, I was like, no, something else needs to happen here. There needs to be more. It needs to go on somewhere. And then I wrote that bit afterwards. So about probably another 7,000 or 8,000 words, maybe even more, follow that based on my writing that scene and it just not feeling finished at that point. So it just goes on. And I love that. That's the bit of it I really enjoy, is not quite knowing how the story's going to turn out. I go for it. I put my ideas in the sand and I sort of think about it. Like I knew the idea of, with Istanbul, I knew who Brent Fasslane was for years. Right, he's been in my mind for about 2 or 3 years. No, maybe not that long. Maybe 2 years. And I've been thinking, this is a great idea. A conspiracy theorist who prophesizes his own demise, his own disappearance. He says, I'm in danger. I'm going to be taken. And then disappears. And then the world he leaves behind is people blaming each other. And also, does him disappearing add kudos, add weight to his claims? This is the thing. And actually, I can tell you now the exact moment I thought about this. And this was years ago. So this is funny, actually. I've not even thought about this at all. But when I was in Bangkok in 2015, I think I was last there, I visited a house there, which was owned by a guy called Jim Thompson, who's a very famous American guy who moved out to Bangkok before it was a big metropolis. It was a much smaller place in the 70s or 80s. Anyway, he was big into, I can't remember the story exactly, so I might be wrong, and apologies if I am. He was big into astrology or something like this, and he prophesized his own disappearance and then disappeared at exactly the time he was supposed to have disappeared and has never been seen since. This was a long time ago. And it just got me thinking, what if someone did that to their own ends? So he, in his story, it almost sort of added weight to to what he was into. It added weight to his astrology or whatever sort of thing he was talking about. So I got thinking, he's almost proving himself. He's almost backing himself up. He was a wealthy guy, from what I understand. He could have just disappeared into the Thai mountains or into another country in Asia. No one knows. And I just thought, what a great sort of element for a character. And then the idea of Brent Fasslane being this conspiracy theorist sort of came along. And so he comes in the story. But actually in the story, there are a lot of bigger characters. He doesn't play the biggest character. And I'll tell you this now, because you're here and you're some of my favourite readers. I think we're going to see him again. I've got a plan for him to return in a book in the future. And he returns with a little bit of vengeance for poor old Leo and Alyssa, because he's not particularly happy that they were the ones who foiled his plans. Whilst he's not in prison, they still ruined his world domination his world domination plan. And so he's going to return, I think. Maybe not. I've got an intention, but as I've just described, these can come over 5 or 6 years and be bubbling away before I do anything with them. So you just never know how they're going to work out. But I do love the idea of him returning at some point in a different guise, perhaps a different sort of, a different city, a different way, and he's got some kind of revenge to play on these two characters. So we'll see if he makes his return. But watch out for it. This is one of the problems, though. I write all these books, and there's loads of characters I'd love to bring back. I'd love for Tao from Kathmandu to come back into a book. I'd love for Boya from Berlin to come back in another book. I'd love for Nikki in New York, the New York PI, to come back for another book. These characters just occur to me, and I become so sort of close to them over the sort of 6-month writing process that I don't quite want to leave them. So maybe at one point, one of them they'll turn up. They'll turn up through some of my other books. But anyway, we will see. I had a nice time down in Norwich last week, by the way, with Steve. Apologies, it wasn't a full-length Books and Beer. We only talked for 2 or 3 minutes, but we were having a busy day one day with a couple of authors, and then the next day we were going out and getting on with something else. So we didn't have time to do a full hour. But I said to him, right, we've just got to set it up, and we've just got to do a few minutes to say hello, say we're both here, we're in the same room, and we're having a nice time. So we did that, yeah, I hope it was okay. It was amazing to just be in the same room and share a beer and plan books and chat in that way. Absolutely loved it. So it was good. It was good for that. What's Ray saying? He says he'd be interested in your reaction to Albania and Montenegro if you make a side trip. We have groups of emigres here. Both our hairdressers are from there, are they? Now, I'm not going to go to Montenegro this time. I'm going to Albania. I'm flying into Greece, Corfu in Greece, a Greek island, and then I'm getting the ferry across to Sarande, which is in Albania, and then I'm going to travel over about 10 days from Sarande up to Tirana, which is the Albanian capital, and then come back again. Montenegro is about 150 miles or 200 miles further east of Tirana by my estimations, or maybe not quite that much. That's the capital, Padoka, something like that, is about that distance. So the border's probably less. But so I'm not going to make it there this time, but I will do. I'd love to travel more in that region. Very under-traveled, really, particularly from. For us in the UK, it's not that far. I think it's a 2.5, maybe 3 hour flight for me. So there's not really any excuse not to go. Alison's asking when I'm doing the live stream DJ event. I've got to do that, haven't I? I promised I would do that around Christmas time, and I haven't done it yet. So I haven't fulfilled that promise. Good question. I can't answer it right now, but I will do. I'll do like a live stream thing. I was thinking of this, Alison, because I've been toying with the idea of doing a Patreon. I was thinking about it I've been thinking about it for months and just haven't done it. And I wondered whether that could be one of the things, because if you don't know, Patreon is like a subscription platform where if you want to be part of it, you pay a couple of dollars a month or a couple of pounds a month or whatever. And it just helps me because I get another income stream. It helps me sort of sustain my life whilst I'm writing the books and pay for the covers and pay for this streaming software, because StreamYard that I use, costs £20 a month or something, or £15 a month, and it just pays for all those things and keeps my beer topped up as well, which is a bonus. But and I was wondering whether that could be one of the things, because if you buy into it, you get sort of different people offer different things, a signed book or I don't know, whatever. I wondered whether that could be it, like a couple of times a year we'd have a live stream DJ party and all turn up and have beers and have a nice time. Maybe if we, I think that could be a good time. What do you reckon? Let me know. I'd be interested. And one of my fears, I think, is setting it up and then just like no one supporting it, which I need to get over, because it doesn't. If no one supports it, no one's seen it, so it doesn't matter, does it? And even if they do say it, it doesn't matter. Like I need to get over it and probably just do it. Alison concurs. Yes, do it. All right, maybe I will. I'll have a think about it. I'll have a think about it. I won't. If I do it, it won't be ready before next week, because it's all about the launch next week. It's all about this. Right, let's have a look at some of these reviews. Where are they? I've got so many things open. Does anyone else do that after a day of working? You've just got about 100 tabs open on your computer. All right. So, this one is Mark Fern's review, the first one I've got here. I don't know if Mark watches these, but if he does, thanks, Mark, for this. In fact, I messaged him privately to say thanks. He said he's read all 6 in the series and loved them. He's also enjoyed Kayla Stone, the Vigilante books with Steve. But he has to say, and I'm really pleased with this, he has to say that Istanbul is his favourite of them all. Yes, I love that. There's a saying in like the author community that each book has to be better than the last one. And whilst I want to do that, it's bloody hard to keep thinking, right, how do I make this one better? How do I make this one better? And I'm thinking about it now with London, because London's going to be very different. I've got an idea that is so different from all the other books I've written, and I'll tell you more about that in the future. It is like, it's more creepy. It's more sort of, it's not as actiony. It's not as explosion and car chase. It's a bit more sort of sinister. I don't know. What do you think about that? I'm interested. So keeping them different and keeping them moving on is hard, but I enjoy it. We're back with Leo and Alyssa for this adventure. I've always had a soft spot for them. Leo with his anxieties and worries, and Alyssa with her combination of fearlessness and gentleness when needed. Together, they make an unusual couple of heroes, but it works so well. This time, the adventure is full on and doesn't stop. A conspiracist is causing chaos and unrest in the world via the media, combined with a ruthless company owned by a psychopath who will stop at nothing to get what she wants. Leo and Alyssa have a massive task at hand to try and stop them both. Very topical in parts. And, as always, the chosen city described makes you feel as you were there in this series. Instead of getting stale or samey, often a criticism of series, this one is thriving and once again shows why it's one of my favourites. I look forward to the next adventure with them. I love that. Thank you so much. That's a wonderful review. Alison, yours is next. Hey. This is the 6th book in the Leo and Alyssa series, but like all the books, it can be read as a standalone. Whilst at home in Brighton, Leo and Alyssa need some downtime after what happened in Riga. But their friend and journalist Marcus Green approaches them with a missing person, Brent Fasslane, who's an active speaker that has disappeared after a controversial speech in Istanbul, and a new book launch that has started to cause unrest throughout the world. They have no choice but to go and find him. What they didn't realise, though, is that not everything is as it seems. The founder of Sadik Tech, Ahmed, has grown the business from the beginning, a lifeline of hope for the better. When he's killed in a car crash, though, previously he'd hoped his family would go to his family business would go to his children. Fate intervened, and his assistant of 15 years took over the company, but had other ideas. Leo and Alyssa find themselves in Istanbul among the back streets. They have little or no contacts in the city, but it won't stop them finding out the truth. It doesn't take long for Leo and Alice to find themselves in danger, and this time with deadly consequences. But they find help with an unlikely source, Ramiz, and an organisation called the Guardians of Truth. And with that, they discover exactly what Isin is using the company for. I love Leo and Alyssa series. The Leo and Alyssa series, the characters just keep on growing in strength and resilience. Also, the other characters in the book have strong personalities which come across in Luke's writing. Thank you, Alison. Wonderful review. Thank you so much. And remember, if you've reviewed these, if you post them, you can in fact post them as soon as the paperback comes up, and I'll let you know when that is. I think it'll be next week, as I say. And I'm pretty sure if you do that, then when the ebook launches, the reviews get combined across them both. I think that's the case. I will check, but I'll ask you to do that anyway. Next up, Ray. You're up, mate. Each one of Luke Richardson's books are great page turners, but Istanbul raises the edge of your seat thrills. Yes, that's what I like to hear. Thrown into a new adventure in exotic Istanbul, their missing persons detective agency finds them embroiled in an international uproar. The enigmatic personality behind the riotous disruption goes missing. But who's behind the disappearance? Hang on for car chases and dangling mysteries. I love that last line, car chases and dangling mysteries. That's fantastic. And finally, I've got one from Chris, who's a friend of mine. Another fast-paced page turner that kicks off right from the beginning. I've been reading Luke's books during the pandemic, and they've been a fun way to explore a new city while getting my daily dose of action and adventure. Excited to see what trouble Leo and Alyssa get into next. There we go. And if you haven't left your review yet, these ones have been left on Goodreads, which is great, a great place to put reviews. So if you've put them on there already, that's fantastic. Thank you. If you have written one, if you've written one but not on Goodreads, and you're going to post it on Amazon when it releases, please send it over to me in advance, because I'm going to do tomorrow or Friday a newsletter to all of my subscribers saying, here's what everyone thought of the book, and make it sound amazing. So if you're up for that and you're able just to send it over to me, I would really appreciate that. I know a few of you have already via the email. So if you have that, that would be fantastic. Alison's asking, are you doing the hard copies? Do you mean the hardbacks of Istanbul? Now, this is another interesting point, Alison, because I haven't decided. But what I think I'm going to do, this is what I was thinking about this Patreon thing. I'm thinking of not selling the hardback books via Amazon like everyone else does. I'm thinking of making them a Patreon exclusive opportunity. So you'd still have to pay for them in the normal way. We'd just do it via PayPal or whatever, and then I'd sign them, write a message, and send them to you. But what I'm thinking of doing is getting just like 10 printed. 10 hardbacks, really nice, printed properly. They'll be numbered 1 out of 10 to what, and first come for the 10 of them, So just to make it seem really exclusive, that's what I'm sort of thinking here, just so that real fans like yourself can get them. Real people who are interested in them can get them. So in answer to your question, yes, but I don't think they'll be available in the normal way. I think I'll sell them directly. I know that makes it a little more difficult for American readers, or a little bit more expensive, because I don't know what the cost of a paperback from here to the States is. I don't think it'll be more than a tenner to send it on. It might take a while, but I don't think it'll be loads, if you're interested in that. But anyway, that's my thinking. I haven't done it yet, but I am thinking of doing that. What do you reckon? Alison thinks that's a good idea. Good. Yeah, so it won't be for everyone. The paperbacks will be available on Amazon as they normally are. So if you want to read them in that way, you can do. But the hardback ones, I think I'm going to do like an exclusive thing there, just for my real, you ladies and gents that support me through thick and thin, and as an appreciation. Yeah, I should get that done, shouldn't I? I'll do that. Cool. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and sharing this beer with me on a Wednesday afternoon. It's amazing as always to be able to talk to you. I love doing this, as you know. Istanbul will be out a week on Friday on ebook. It'll be out before then on paperback. So keep refreshing on Amazon. I will message you to let you know. And hopefully this time next week when I speak to you for the last Books and Beer of the series. I call them a series. It sounds impressive, doesn't it? If I call them a series, as if someone's going to like binge them all. Yeah, you never know. I should have the copy of it ready to go. I should be able to show you it, which I'm really excited about. I love that bit. It's still one of my favourite parts of the process is when that arrives and you just sort of have the thing, And I know these ones are old and I've had them for ages, but it's still, it's still something special about them. It's still something very proud about them that I love. So yeah, I will see you next week. I've already put the thing on YouTube, actually, the event on YouTube. I don't think it's really called an event, but a live stream. So you can click it, like it, and put it to give you a reminder, which is always nice. I'll post that link once again in the comments. So if you haven't yet pre-ordered, you can do so. Thank you, Alison. She just said she loved the podcast with me and Martha in Scotland. That's one of my faves as well. You'll have one from me in Albania. It'll just be me though. In a few weeks' time, which I'm looking forward to. That's the link to pre-order Istanbul if you haven't already. As I say, if it's already out by that time, it will just go straight to the sales page. I really appreciate you buying these books. I really appreciate you supporting me. I do this independently, as you know, as I've said many times. There's no like big corporation, no big publishing house behind me. It's just me talking to you, telling you my stories, and I love it that way. But it means that I've got this connection with you, and that's really important to me. So every book you buy, every page you read, every time you recommend it or share it or tell someone about it, that makes all the difference. Even in this world of like algorithms and AI, one human saying to another human, "I enjoyed this book, you might like it," is really important. Alison says she's already pre-ordered London. Thanks. I wondered whether you'd see it, Alison, to be honest. I put it up yesterday and I thought I'm not going to tell anyone because it's so far out. I wondered whether it would like notify you or you'd see it, but thank you for that. I'm sure you're the first person. I'll check in a minute. But yeah, all of those things. Oh, Ray says reviews planned for Istanbul already. Thank you so much, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, BookBub can take a while, but I appreciate you sticking with it and doing them when you can. Cool. I'm going to finish my beer and then I'm going to log off my computer and bit of a chill bump. Thank you so much. I will see you again very, very soon.